Hey everyone, you ready to play some Galactic Delvers? Well, let's see what we got here. I'm going to start with a character. And I'm going to go down to, page 6. Who am I? I'm a Galactic Delver, and I need to pick a race. I can be Chimer, Cruise, Skian, or Terran. Those are defined as the 4 different races in the game. The Chimer are more like the tree people, the plant-based life forms. The Crews are a triped creature instead of being a biped and biaxial. They're triaxial. They have 3 of everything: 3 eyes, 3 arms, 3 legs. The Skia are a reptilian creature with wings and tail, although the wings and tail are not of much use usually by Era 10. And finally Terrans, which are just humans. And there are 4 traits in the game. There is a durable trait in the game, and there is a fierce trait in the game, and there is an inventive trait in the game, and a spirited trait in the game, and those correspond to the Chimer being fierce, the Crews being durable, the Skia are spirited, and Terran inventive. You have 2 choices. You can either choose to be one race with 1 trait, like I can be a Chimer and I'm fierce. You may not choose to be a Chimer and be inventive. At the start, you would choose Chimer and fierce if you're the 1 trait, or you can choose to be 2 traits, in which case you could be a Chimer and be both fierce and durable, or fierce and inventive. I think there are restrictions on each of the races. For instance, the Chimer are never spirited, the Crews are never inventive, etc. Now I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to be a Crews here. Let me get a drawing tool. If I seem a little spastic, don't worry about that. I'm a Crews, so that means I'm going to be durable. Go down to my durable traits here and check that. And I can then now make a choice. I can either get 10 skills underneath durable, or 10 combinations. For instance, I could be Eisenfuss at rank 2 by using 3 of my 10 spots. Or I can take just 4 skills, but I get a 2nd skill. And I'm going to be durable and fierce Crews with just 4 skills. And I'm going to be a former airborne guy, and I'm going to have Detente ability because S&R group are not always fighters, and I'm a warhorse for the game, and I'm also I'm able to jury rig, and I'm going to take my my salvage ship out, and I'm going to look for stuff. Airborne, jury rig, Detente, and warhorse. And I have a character and I'm ready to play. That's it. Now, to go up in levels, you don't check experience points, you check off ignoble deeds. There are 14 of them listed here. If I can get 9 of them in the game, I can go up a level. Very important. Task resolution is right on the character sheet. Most of the time you're going to be making basic rolls 8 or better on 2 dice. If you make that 8 or better, boom, 6. 6 is a fail. 6, 10. I was wondering there. 10, you make a roll and you're successful. The results also, if they're very low, can be mishaps. Mishaps do occur in this game. Let's go to Bucky's Tug. At Bucky's Tub, this demonstrates the nitty-gritty of the game, because you're more ship in person than you are person in ship. Your ship is very important. You will move around the ship through 4 different areas of the ship: the task lead, the comptroller, the dynamo, and let me get this deck out of the way, and the contingency, which is no man's land. And that corresponds to no man's land is contingency, the Phillips drive is the dynamo, the C cube is the comptroller, and the on point is always the task lead. And all of your tin heads, your robots, start online. They may become A1 class through play, or they may fall to caution, unfit, and finally unknown status, which means they're probably an open mutiny. And then you have 4 materials that you bring aboard your ship before you even start salvaging. You have heavy metals, too many to count. You have purified substances, too many to count. Organic, complex organics, too many to count, and name brand products, too many to count. But you do not start with any whimsy or novelty. That would be like the gold of the game. You're looking for treasure, looking for elements of the past that rich people will pay money for. And there's karma. Karma can be used to both buy successful rolls as make rolls, or it can be used to find clues toward the climax. And then there's A-Tech. A-Tech is advanced technology, which would allow you have great and wonderful things until it starts to change. Everything is both a plus and a minus in a freestyle game. Going through the ship a little bit more, there are four different close-up roles. You could be the satrap commander, in which case I am the only person aboard. I'm going to be playing solo to demonstrate that, and I will be both the commander and task lead. I could certainly be the commander and comptroller, and I might end up moving there. Because I'm only a solo player, I'm not going to apply the penalties that I don't have characters in all the areas, unless I end up in the contingency. While I'm forced in the contingency, usually by mishap, then the rest of the ship is sort of being run by the robots. The robots either don't work that well or they're mutinous. It's a fine line being an Era 10. And the other things you might discover on board are these looky-loos. Paranoid empath, Galaxy vision cleric. In fact, I'm going to mark that paranoid empath already as, I think I was using pink. One is aboard. He's in cryogenic storage and he's out of the way, but I need him in order to make freefall trips, the way of teleporting around the universe. I do not have a cleric aboard, mace test engineer, etc. And then this threat number, or whether or not I have a soak-off or a catbird seat in the battle, and a dice roll advantages, you'll see that when I demonstrate combat. But the ship is ready to go. I'm ready to go. I have a character, and I have a ship, and I'm ready to start play. So what would I do? These are all basically irony and insider jokes and funny things that guys that spend their whole life out in deep space call normal systems that is probably iota capula. And from there, though, I'm going to freefall trip, and it's one of the first things we're going to do in the game is a freefall trip. But why? So in the game rules, I'm going to go to the section on basically making an adventure, and I'm going to flip a few cards to figure out what and why I'm doing this. So if I go down to like page 187, I can look for my theme, and I'm going to flip one card. Let's bring those cards back into play. And I'm dealing with two computers here, so occasionally, it'll seem like I'm flustered, but it's really, I got myself a Knight of Politics. Now, politics is go to orders. Put that in the chat so we can all see it. Boom. So our Rojo Cruise is going to go to orders. I'm going to go to place. I can go down to page, there it is, page 189. The group is taking someone to a rendezvous. The meeting needs to take place far from civilization. Secrecy is important. I probably should then add somebody in cryo storage. I'm going to add a covert G-Sol agent to my looky-loo cruise. And as the game advances, these guys might come out of cryo, much to my chagrin, or even try to take over the ship if they feel that I'm incompetent. But so far, as a level 0 person with no make rolls and very little ability, I am not incompetent. And when I get to the site of the climax, then he's going to perform his actions in the climax challenges, which usually is a battle, because battles are easy to run solo. Big battle with what's chasing you may occur in the climax with piecemeal encounters, run and gun along the way. Okay, at the other end, the deal may go south, and what was carried by the agent, whimsy, novelty, or ATEC may end up in the party hands. Your mileage may vary. Anything else I need on the quest? Well, I need some goals. So I'm going to flip 2 more cards to basically get what I'm going to get as reward at the end of this. And I got a 2 of politics and a 2 of artifice. I flipped those really quick, but we'll make some notes on a piece of paper. 2 artifice and 2 of politics. And that 2 of artifice is going to mean that at the end, I'm going to get wonderment. I'm going to collect ATEC. Well, there is not much in the universe that would get me to go into uncharted space except advanced technology. And then also on my politics, I will have affiliation. So I will lose a nemesis that is hunting me. So this G-Sol agent comes to me. Again, you sort of build a story, especially if you're playing solo. You can make up all sorts of funny things to amuse yourself. This G-Sol agent comes to me and says, hey, I know there's a creditor who's got a death warrant on you. I can remove that threat from you if you take me in uncharted space. And at the end there, you can take the ATEC. I want to just arrest the guy that's going to be selling it. Typical cyberpunk type advanced story, perfectly logical and makes sense to me. I probably should write all that down because I'm an old man, my memory's poor, but your mileage may vary. And then at the end game, there's going to be some threats, and I'm just going to give me one threat. Give me one threat at the beginning here because I'm level 0 and just starting out, and it's a 5 of voids. Now, a 5 of voids, is it inverted? It is not inverted. A void card is crime lords. Gosh, this is just making perfect sense. Sometimes when the cards just give you perfect things, you got to accept that, you know, there's some gaming god that's behind it all when you're playing solo, making everything make sense. Or, you know, maybe the designer's been doing this for a long time and just knows how to make his cards work. So I got my ship. I'm gonna trip into space from Iota Crapula, and then I'm gonna start marching across unknown space. Unknown space. Did I get it? Oh, there it is. And here's me sort of in unknown space here. And at unknown space, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my vessel to go. Now, let me go back to my table of contents here and get my vessel. Prepping a vessel. Seems like something that would be important to do. But I've done it so many times, I probably am a slacker about it. And prepping a vessel, I'm finding it. Give me a moment. Get off my back. Prep a vessel. How about at 118? At 118, every adventure has each of the group making a roll. The player characters will fan out and inspect the vessel for spaceworthiness. The ship is off. Get her running again. Okay, so let me flip a card on this Q&D vessel readiness sweep. And I got myself a 4. And it's not inverted, but there are no banes on this table because pretty much everything is a bane on this table. Now a 4, I'll put it in the chat if you hear me clicking with my keyboard in the background very loudly. That's what that represents. And sometimes we lose a character or two. And here it is. And it is exercise body and mind, success and remove affectation. Well, I don't have any affectations. Those would be bad traits. You talked about my good traits on my characters. My good traits on my character sheet here were the fact that I was durable and fierce, but I might also pick up some bad traits. And those bad traits, you can see them sort of lined in here. Weapons. If you don't want to be timorous, if you're going to use weapons, you don't want to be stubborn if you're going to worry about your own recovery. Don't backsass the doctor. You don't want to be ghoulish if you're a leader. And if those essentially affectations get developed by the character, they turn off your skills. So you want to get rid of those. But in this case, I could lose one right now if I had any. But instead, I'm going to try to make a resistance to adversity roll, either Brawler, Dreadnought, Guerrilla Insurgent, or Minuteman. I don't have any of those. Look at that character sheet. Do I have any of those? I do not. I marked some of the ones I have, but I can pick one up right now. So let me look at the fear skill, and of that list, I can see the fear skill. Is that Brawler? It certainly is. I can roll, and if I roll, and I'm going to double check the game notes here to make sure I'm not cheating anyone and confusing anyone. If you should buy this game and read it later on DriveThruRPG, shameless pug. So I can basically try this roll at pre-check. Each player will get his own result. Yes, each of the tribulations. Did it say under a 4 what the roll is? Basic. Adversity basic. Now, if you do not have a skill, you can try it at tasking. In this case, I can also pick it up by rolling. In each event of tribulation, skills required to do the task well and gain success. Recall, if your character lacks the skill, you must do 2 degrees higher. So my basic roll becomes a tasking roll. And if there is no results listed for mishaps aren't counted. In this case, there's no result for fail either, so I cannot really blow the roll. All I can do is possibly get the roll. And I can possibly pick up a skill. A tasking roll, very tough, 12 or better, 2 dice. Here I go. Double 3s don't do it. This ain't Monopoly. We don't add and re-roll. But my vessel is ready to go. Simple, easy peasy. Now we're going to freefall trip into uncharted space. Ooh, what does that mean? Okay, so when we freefall trip into uncharted space, I'm going to go down to the section on uncharted space, and once again, playing solo. Even if I'm not playing solo, if I'm playing along just as myself as a referee, I could either flip some cards in advance before my players show up, or I could, play along with them by flipping cards, and then when I need to as a referee, I can step out of my player role and make some more interesting twists as the game is being done. And I'm scrolling down here trying to stall for time just a little bit. And I will eventually get to, yeah, we'll edit all this in post. Gosh, there's a lot to this game. And I will flip a card in Freefall Trip, and here it comes. Freefall Trip of a Maiden. A Maiden card, and it's not inverted, means the first system I enter is a minefield. Aren't we lucky bastards? Let me see if I can add an item to this sheet here and get myself a minefield. It's not, it's not the number one thing I would love to find, but it is something to find. M-N-O-P minefield. Look at that. I made this graphic myself. It's something that you can make, and of course you're not even looking at that because I'm off on my own little world here playing. How about if we do this instead? First thing I hit with my ship here as I trip out of space is I land in this minefield. It further tells me when I hit that minefield, again playing solo here, is that there are Chimer Vikings and there's a random high-level treasure there if I win it. Wow, that almost seems like it's worthwhile, fighting Chimer Vikings for a high-level treasure. Adding image. Now, the first image I want to add would be the fact that I'm fighting at the climax challenges would be crime lords, and I'm doing this mostly so that I can remember this in the game. So somewhere in the game, I'm going to be fighting at the end crime lords. I do not get make rolls from it, and the rewards I had so far were. What was the first reward? It was A-Tech. Boy, that's a good reward. And not Blood Knights. And the first reward was did I write it down? Politics, right? Politics and artifice. Artifice, open. So I'm gonna collect A-Tech when I'm done winning, and because I'm a winner. And the other thing I got here was that politics, which lose the nemesis hunting you. Those are all nice. And now we're fighting Chimer Vikings. And again, these are just icons that I generated myself over time. So I got a minefield with Chimer Vikings in it, and I got my ship in here, and that's my overall quest down. I'll move these down just a little bit and double check that I didn't lose them. Good. And from there, I also looked that I flipped that Maiden Valor, and if I go under at the bottom of the table, Valor tells me that the connecting routes here are historic archives and prospector rumors, and I got some graphics to help me. Prospector and historic archives. Okay, so if I want to leave this area of the minefields, I can leave by rumors and historic. But before I do that, I have to battle Chimer Vikings. Shall we battle Chimer Vikings? Let's go back over to Bucky's Tug and set this battle up so we can take a look and run the rules on it. And over at Bucky's Tug, I'm going to move this over just a little bit because most of this action takes place right in this little box here. Threat number, defensive modifier, and any modifier. Let's look at my threat number. Now, Chimer Vikings are a 3-0. 3. Okay. Could have been a 2 to start us off here. Well, it is a 3, but at least there's no defensive modifier here. Wow. 3. Okay, so I'm going to have to kill a 3. Wow, this is a big battle for a guy fresh out of law school. And here we go to combat. Now, combat in a freestyle game is not just roll your d20 over and over and again, looking to hit and taking your hit points off the enemy. That's a little bit too redundant. So all the combat takes place in terms of combat events. You don't really pick what you're doing, as more respond to what you're doing. Now, I am a satrap, the commander of the vessel, and I am a gang boss and a task lead. The first card I take is I'm going to take a task lead section here where I'm on point, and I'm going to go over to like page 50 of the rules, and I'm going to flip myself a card, and I got a 10. If you play with lots of people across the whole set of the gang boss, you've got guys in the dynamo working the engines, you got guy in the comptroller working the matrix running the ship. If you got players, 4 or more, you would basically let the card flip. This politics card would set the suit. In that case, with a politics card, the actual person that would get the event, if I can look that up really quick for you all, would have been the Bombacita, the robot's friend. And right now that we don't have a robot friend, so we would create one. But I'm just going to do this straightforward for my demo here, where I'm going to take this 10 politics and go to on point and read the result. Now, a 10 on point, it's straight up, it's not a bane, it's not inverted, it's not a double bane, it's not an inverted card after an inverted card. A 10 straight up would give me a result of Well, I'll put it in the chat too, in case you want to read along at home. I may mush a word or two. Post the script for torpedo defense. Pop the script for torpedo defense. Part of an app you got in that vending machine at the last Walker Galactic truck stop. Success and threat decreases. Mishap and lose material stores. Regardless, gain the catbird seat. Tribulation spirited. Difficult or hacktacular basic. I am not spirited, and do not have the skill hacktacular. Because I'm not spirited, I will not have that. I will try to make a tasking roll of a 12. If I do not make that tasking roll of a 12, there's a big gap area between success and mishap. I do not want a mishap here. And here comes my roll looking for a 12. And I have rolled my 12, so I'm successful. Regardless, I gain the catbird seat. I'm going to make a note of that. And I made my roll of a 12 here. You fight me? Don't fight me. So the threat number went to 1. Went to 2. And now, I would normally, if you make a roll, like this hacktacular roll, you can improve your skill, or you could gain that skill. But unfortunately, I'm not trait spirited. And because I'm not trait spirited, when you look at my character sheet here, I cannot gain the spirited skills. In fact, because I'm a cruise, and cruise will never be inventive, there's a whole set of skills that I will never gain in the game. Now, this could be seen as, oh my gosh, how will I ever play? No. There's lots of overlap in the skills. Mostly you're working from these 16 freestyle associations, which means if I get durable and fierce and load my skills up, I'm going to have double each of those. When I finally get spirited by going through Q&D Life Goes On, the thing that happens between missions, I may get third sets of skills by picking up that spirited trait. I just will never become inventive. And no character is going to become the be-all, do-all, everything in the game. We sort of hate those guys anyway when we play with them, don't we? Well, maybe that's too personal. Conrad. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. I just dropped the threat by 1, and I just and I got my catbird seat, and I go right back in. But this time, instead of giving myself an on-point card, I'm going to give myself a satrap card. What has happened to me in my role of commander? And I flipped a 4 of valor, and there's a good old Bane. Now I got to go back to my table of contents and bebop around on this. Usually, if you play with a couple of players, they can each stay in certain sections. But I go to satrap. Satrap, close combat. Now, because I flipped a satrap roll, I could run away. But if I run away here, right at the start of the mission, it's going to be pretty terrible for me to have to try to recover from that. I'd have to Freefall Trip again, and I don't want to do that. Freefall Trip is the most dangerous of the 8 different ways to travel. And so we're going to basically get that Commerce, 4, Bane. I'm going to scroll down. My buddy makes some spreadsheets to generate these really quick. I don't have them handy, so I'm just going to tape it. Manage the reserves with efficiency, hoping to earn respect, if not a commendation. Fail and lose material stores. Mishap and lose stores plus a valued cargo. And we don't have any valued cargoes that probably would be taken on the chin. I'd get a vicious wound. If there isn't any, take a vicious wound. Now, I am a cruise. I will actually take 3 vicious wounds before I die. But normally, everyone will just take 1 wound to be wounded and a 2nd wound to be dead. Now, this game is a little bit unique in the sense that no one really dies. I mean, it's a sort of advanced healthcare plan, you know, universal healthcare is available for everyone. No, it's the fact they put you in a frozen box and put you in a cryogenic storage. Yes, it's a small homage to John Carpenter's Dark Star. But what happens is you continue to play, but if you ever get wounded again after your 2, or in my case, cruise 3, that wound you're going to give to somebody else around the table. And eventually everyone may end up in cryogenic storage, still running the ship and still trying to adventure. I get the robots to push you around in your box, and it's only when the party fully wipes that the game is over and you've lost. Or if you've lost all your tin heads on your ship, if they're all become unknown, you pretty much can decide to pack it in and wipe the party. But we have we fail and lose material stores. I do not want to fail this roll. It is inventive difficult. I am not inventive, and I do not have the skill of robber baron. I'm so young that there's going to be a lot of skills I'm not going to have. But I can roll a tasking looking for that 12, and I failed though. But what happens when I fail? I lose material stores. Oh my gosh, my complex organics now need to be rationed. because they are no longer too many to count, because I'm fighting these Chimer Viking, and the Chimer Vikings are shooting back at me, throwing mines into my ways, hitting me with torpedoes, driving me into the sun, and everything else that's sundry can happen. Back to the game. Now I'm going to flip a random card and let the suit decide, and then I'm going to go ahead and move to that area and take over, just for the argument. And here comes a Knight Artifice. Now a Knight Artifice in combat would normally be run by C Cube, the command center. So essentially, I need to stop saying that. I have moved from Task Lead down to Comptroller for a second. I'm going to take over there. That Knight card tells me that, I'll cut and paste it into the chat. Occasionally you can hear a click in the background too, where I spin around and kick my filing cabinet. It is a mess in here, I gotta tell you. I could use a maid. Boy, if game sales were a lot better, I'd have that made. No, it wouldn't. Scientist! Why didn't I pick Scientist? Why didn't I pick Trade Inventive? Second time in a row. Where are my fierce and durable traits? Well, okay. Luck of the drawer. The deck will set things. Slime the trail behind with paste oils and ice crystals. Success for Tactics Pip. So I'm out in space here. My ship is a big Leviathan. I'm trying to get away from these Chimer Vikings, which are trying to piecemeal pick me apart. And I say, well, they're not going to fly through paste oils and ice crystals. So I'm grabbing them off the local gas giant, spreading them behind me and making them very difficult for them to fire direct shots into me. You know, it actually works. Success for the Tactics Pip. Wait a second. Did I cheat myself? I did cheat myself. You see that 9 I rolled for that inverted bane? I had the catbird seat, and the catbird seat gives me +3 to the dice. So I rolled not 9, but +3 to the dice. I rolled a 12. Give me back my complex organics. I did not fail that roll to manage supplies, but once again, too bad I'm not inventive. I might have picked up a skill. But back to this one here. I need to success for Tactics Pip, mishap for Big Trouble. Tactics Pip would be +1 on all my dice for the rest of the battle. Very handy to have. But once again, I'm not a scientist, so it's 2 dice higher. Going to be a tasking roll of 12. A 6. This time I truly did not get the Tactics Pip, but I did not mishap either. Playing solo like this, you might go through a number of cards before you actually win the battle, especially against a 3-1. Should I fast forward? Well, I'm having fun, so why don't I continue it? Let's go back to On Point, see what I can do there. That 10 commerce On Point. I'm going to go ahead to flip on that. It's not inverted. It's not a bane. It's not a double bane. A 10. That 10 is going to be pop the... Did I just get a 10 and a 10? I'm going to go back really quick and see if... Yeah, I got a 10 followed by a 10. I must really like to pop the script for torpedo defense, part of an app you got from a vending machine. That's a pretty good vending machine. I actually made this roll last time. I am not spirited, though. I need a tasking roll of a 12. I'm rolling 2 dice. I missed it this time, but I still, regardless, gain the catbird seat. That's going to help me in the next round. I flip a card again. This time I'll take a Satrap card. Satrap card. And scrolling to find the Satrap close-up actions. It is a 4. It's not an inverted 4 this time, so it's a slightly different event. Manhandle the controls of the craft. Did I finally get myself a tasking roll of durable that I could possibly make? Okay, manhandle the controls, causing the craft to lurch. Either your position or the local star has changed dramatically. Success and a previously developed A-Tech removes a bane. Well, that'd be really nice, but I don't have any A-Tech. If none aboard, treat as a Tactics Pip. That's really nice. A mishap and you will not gain the Fury for the remainder of this adventure. That's really bad. Now, Fury is +2 to the dice, and I can activate my Fierce ability and get the Fury for +2 to the dice during any action, including this whole battle if I wanted to waste it right here or use it right here. Regardless, Kowalski Shift. Now, that would be if you're playing with multiple players. I would basically shift positions. If someone was in Dynamo, he would take over me a controller. If he would take over me as controller, he would... I'm back at the task link. Okay. And we're going to basically a durable tasking or preeminent basic. Now here's what I can do. I can either roll 2 dice for a 12, and if I'm successful, pick up preeminent basic. I do have the catbird seat. Or I could try to roll preeminent basic, but I don't have it. I'm going to try to roll that 12. Here comes my 2 dice. 16. Can't argue with that. That's a good roll. And I go over to my character sheet. And on my character sheet, I can look at the durable skill of preeminent, and I am improving my character as we play. Durable, preeminent. I just picked up the skill there. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll put an X through it since it's so special that I actually get it through play. This is another aspect of the freestyle systems, is that you don't just sort of, you do level. I still like that Gygax system of knowing where you are. It's very much like the school system where you go from grade to grade to grade. You still advance by levels, and at levels you do get advantages. The biggest, of course, is for each level you pick up these make rolls. Make rolls is, instead of trying to roll dice and get that 12, I can just say, I'm going to make the roll this time. It's especially nice when you have the negative possibility of getting hit by a wound. But in a freestyle game, a lot of the skills and abilities of the game are picked up through actual play. There's an organic element to that where you're actually developing your characters and it makes sense. I'm in this combat here, and now not only do I have a Dayton ability and a Warhorse ability, but I picked up this preeminent quality in myself, and it can go up to +4 to the dice, just like all the other skills. I'm going to go ahead and suspend the action here, because you don't just want to watch me play, and I got a lot more to represent. And I'm going to say that boom, bing, bang, boom, I got through this battle with a few more blows. I'm probably cheating just a little bit in the sense that I'm not going to suffer any injuries, but where would be the fun of me demoing a game where you're going to die? I have rumor and historic. I can go either by the rumor path or the historic path after I defeated those Chimer Vikings. Let's say I go by the rumor path, and by the rumor path I would first try to find the path by flipping dice on a table that is, and I'm going to read it out to you here. The dangers of travel. Find the obvious path on 234. I would flip a card for that. That 8, for instance, would tell me that I'm going to overhear scuttlebutt, that unnamed parties, even tin heads, are joking about the way I keep my quarters, your workshop, or yourself. That's no good. Fail and lose from your rank of tin heads. That would probably be my retribution. So while I'm searching for that rumor, going on the internet, or radioing my buddies back home, or trying to figure out why there's this rumor in this direction, I'm also seeing that the tin heads are complaining. I don't like it when I don't like it when robots backsass, but that's just me. And I might try that roll. Difficult, any trait. I do have any trait. I have an any trait of durable. I have any trait of fierce. Or dignity basic. Dignity basic, I could pick up maybe esprit de corps or risorgimento, patriot, myrmidon, if I have the skills. In my case, the skills I have, I'm back on my character sheet. The skills I have are, do I have risorgimento? Yeah, I got that under fierce. I could try to get risorgimento on a basic roll if I have it, or a difficult roll if I don't have it. 2 dice for a 10. And I didn't make my risorgimento. Now I might remember that I picked up like the tactics pip or the catbird seat from the last battle, but those don't carry over. All of the different modifiers apply only to the incident itself. If I wanted to add a little bit more freestyle play into this, there are 2 other systems of resolving besides the overall quick and dirty tables, is what we call them, where you're flipping cards for different random events. There are and I'm trying to find them in the rule set, and they are the quick challenges and the system test. Now, quick challenges basically are, I say basically are a lot too. Essentially and basically, I need to start deleting those worlds. You'd flip a card, and this would say, for instance, in group play, a Martyr Stellar would need, we need some sort of coup de grace right now in order to win. So I might be saying that I need to figure out why the code on the tin heads is starting to backsass me. So if I make a coup de grace roll, I can solve this in one good set of programming. And I would make coup de grace, dignity, and fostering trust rolls, recover at basic, and tasking. There's 4 of those there. Wow, 4 rolls. That was a tough one, Martyr. Martyrs are not good cards. And if we're playing in group plays, we could divide those up amongst the players. In solo play, I could simply try to make 4 rolls in a row. And there's negative aspects of missing these rolls, but they also then drop 1 level. It would become, instead of basic, and tasking, it would be automatic routine, automatic routine, automatic routine, and and difficult, eventually I'll make those rolls. But while I'm trying to make those rolls, other bad things are happening to my tug. Got to be consequences for bad rolls in a freestyle game. And the other way I could resolve this is I could just do a quick system test. I could flip a card for that as well, and a 10 on a quick systems test would say that I'm going to make a leadership roll. And do I have a drill sergeant, generalissimo, preeminent, or stentorian voice? And preeminent, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, since it just happened, that yeah, I picked up that preeminent just in the last battle. So now I have that skill. I could try a roll on that. It says that the systems test actually start really high in level, but there's almost no consequences for failure. It's just who is the person that gets the honor of completing them, and that person can pick up improvements that are skills. This is one of the advantages of playing solo, is the fact that I don't, all of the danger and mishap is coming right my way, but at the same time all of the benefits and the treasures and also the skill improvements are coming right at my way. So this would be another way, by forcing a system test for me to figure out why the robots are acting up, that I would pick up, in this case, preeminent, or I could move over and take the cruise. I call it cruise because it's a durable trait, and durable trait can be in the Chimer. It can also be in the Skia. It just can't be Terrans. Squishies are not that durable. And that trait, if I'm looking down the list here, it is not generalissimo. Is it drill sergeant? Drill sergeant? No, drill sergeant's not a generalissimo. I said no. It would be the preeminent and durable. What would it be in the under fierce? Under fierce, it would be the stentorian voice, and under inventive it'd probably be what, generalissimo, and under spirited it would be the one that was left, a drill sergeant. Okay, back to the game. So we've looked at let's if I go back to my unknown space here and I followed that rumor at unknown space, I would then eventually find it after I did my system test or did my downtime as I hunted for it, and I would then flip another card, and the cards are basically setting the tone of play. Especially in solo, you need a good randomizer, and that freestyle play has some of the best in that they're all contextually based. The cards you flip for like a wormhole flip are different from the cards you would flip following this rumor, the card you flip in combat, the card you would flip if you were the Bombacita, the favorite of the robots, versus the scapegoat if you're the person that everyone blames for all the mishaps aboard. That maiden card along the rumor route, I'm going to go over to rumors, prospector rumors, 222. I flipped a maiden, it's not inverted, and I have run into a network link. I'm going to run systems test and finish and discover a clue point toward the end game. Now that's good, because a clue point to the end game is the reason why you're doing this is you need to find 3, 1, 2, 3, count them. After you find 3 clue points, you have essentially directed yourself toward the climax where we're fighting those crime lords. And we're going to fight those crime lords to hopefully pick up a little bit of wonderment and a little bit of political affiliation. I move that enough so you'd see it on the other screen. But we have from here a network link. Do I need to check to see if my dog is upset? Let the wife handle it. Somebody must have come over. And from here I go over to network link, and again, I just made some generic cards that I could stick in there, and I know the rumor from the minefield leads to the network link. There was probably something special in the minefield. I can read under the lexicon of the systems, but I've moved over here to the network link. At the network link that's uninhabited, all I'm going to do is make my my rolls for systems test to get that clue point. That would put me at, instead of phase 1 of the mission, I'd be at phase B or phase 2 of the mission. I could put a 2 right over here just to remind myself that this was starting off, this was 1 territory, and going to here was 2 territory. The virtual tabletops are nice because you can use them like a mega map and draw all over them. And they would also, on that, there was a negative modifier with that maiden that I would change Safe Trap. But I'm playing solo, so I don't need to change Safe Trap. But maybe I could go over to my Bucky's tub here And for a little while, I would be not just Satrap, but let me see if I can make a clone of him here. And I would also be in the Dynamo. So I have to cover 2 positions now. That's never fun. That's other work, other cards that could come and affect me. And if I arrived here via radiation density, I would discover even 1 more clue point, but I did not. Now, the other way you can get clue points and move around more quicker through uncharted space, getting toward that climax challenge, would be if you get karma. And karma is really nice because it allows you to spend it for different things. I could take away this crime lord so that the climax doesn't have a main threat at the end with karma. I could add to the number of riches and things that I gain at the end in the climax. That's things I do with karma. But the main thing you want to do with karma is you want to turn that 2 to a 3 and then that 3 to 4. I found the climax challenges. You got a number of little markers here. For instance, I might have had a subsection of this minefield which was attached to Era 7. That's a good way to pick up Whimsy, which is treasure in the game. And from here, this network link was a maiden card. I would go down and read maiden card in commerce. Commerce would be the connecting routes are prospector rumors and radiation density. So I'd put another rumor, which is really nice. Or I would put radiation density. Radiation density are very nice because with radiation there's either going to be heavy metals there to collect or it's probably going to be related to a former war zone. Former war zones are great places for salvage hunters to pick through. So, alright, well, we've demonstrated battle, we demonstrated moving about the system, eventually going to hit a climax challenge. Now here is an elaborate one that I used for the play testing, where the players were moving through the Louvre. I would not suggest that you go anywhere to this degree of complication, but it shows you what's possible in the game. The players can actually physically be moving around. In this case, they could possibly move from the edge through 4 different layers of the Louvre. They were looking for whimsy novelty. They were looking for the Mona Lisa. Here is the modern Mona Lisa, which they actually were looking for. The ancient one was not considered of any value, but there was also a Walkman that somebody had from an old tour that was of value. And then there was a room where essentially the statuary there could be salvaged by the team and made money from. The climax challenges typically are battles. There's a section of the rules on how you would generate even those on the fly, depending upon whether you had these. Get back to here. We would fight that crime lord. If there was more than just a crime lord, if there were Chimer Vikings that were also joining the crime lords, if there was Androxian fanatics joining the crime lords, that would increase the difficulty and the amount of threat and the amount of death mod that could come in. The defensive modifier is a negative aspect that would take away from all your dice rolls. In my case, that 16 probably wouldn't be too much affected, but that 4, that could put me into mishap territory. We have demonstrated the combat state ATEC. Now, ATEC is interesting. I should say something about it, for instance. And again, it's generated with a flip of the cards. I'm going to go back down to that section of the rules. And this is in the appendix, which is pretty much the referee section. And the ATEC are sort of these cool upgrades that you would do to your ship. Excuse me. I almost like a deck of many things aspect about them, where the players can flip as many cards as they like when they discover something that's advanced technology, and eventually they'll put enough bad Banes into it, that Ace, Valor, Bane. That Ace is nice, but it's a Bane, and that's not going to mean that you make it at the start of each adventure, every character receives an extra make roll. That's pretty nice to have from that advanced technology, but because it's a Bane, it's as above, plus installing the device makes the vessel a target. Each adventure the group must face an extra hostile boss battle, hell-bent on taking this accoutrement for their own. So instead of starting with what's just one crime lord, I might have had a second card in here that was affecting me. I would like to generate a space station on the fly just by going to the website. The deck in the game is 8 suits of 16 cards. No, this is not something you're going to go down to your Toys R Us and buy. Toys R Us are out of business, aren't they? Gosh, the world has changed. But what will happen is that you just take a couple of bicycle decks and a magic marker and you make your own deck. Or they're online. You can find at the Space Gamer site, you can find the fact that we have a number of tools. You can even roll dice on the Space Gamer site if you've got somebody who's traveling and doesn't have their dice with them. And from the Space Gamer site as well, there's a card generating program that will flip cards. But also I have this random space station. And if you want a climax challenge, you can also use this near a 10. It'll give you sort of the politics of the space station, you know, the different immunes aboard and what the mishap is going to be related to. But also you can use these random things as a dungeon crawl aspect, where you just set, you know, this gun port is going to be active robots that you need to fight. There's one in the middle here that you might run into, and different barracks and robot stations. You can just generate these on the fly. If you're playing solo, and have an infinite amount of random mazes that you would have to move through as a player character as well. Did we cover it all? Getting close. So you got your character. You got how you can generate your quest, your go-tos. And as part of the go-to, you have you know, who you're facing, whether it's crime. I keep saying crime lords because it's right in front of me, but you know, it could be ecclesiastics, it could be the verdigris, the symbiotic race of reptiles and rats. You prep your vessel. You can do that several times during the game, especially with big groups, because it's fun and it's a chance to gain skills. Usually just once per adventure, once per session. You're going to freefall trip to some place. You're going to move across your map system by system until you eventually get 3 clues, or get some extra karma to count as clues. And you're going to reach the climax challenges. At the climax challenges, you're going to fight the enemy that you originally generated to gain that, in this case, a wonderful reward, and the fact that I would lose a nemesis that had been hunting me. As a new character, I probably didn't have one, but it's a nice excuse to start play. Well, I've been talking for more than an hour, and that's way too much. For those who got to the end, thank you, and hope you enjoy Galactic Delvers, the S&R group, Salvage and Recovery. You can ask additional questions and request additional clarifying videos as well by going to the Space Gamer website, www.spacegamer.com. It posts your messages in the Vox Populi public message board. It's an old school sort of news group type of message board. It doesn't have those newfangled images that pop up on the chans, but that's because we'd like to keep things a little bit more about gaming. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.